I'm Bazila Javid. I'm from Sopore, District Baramulla, Jammu and Kashmir. I was schooled at St. Joseph's Higher Secondary School, Baramulla. Then I did my bachelor's in science from MCM DAV College, Chandigarh. Then I pursued master's from Punjab University, Chandigarh. I'm a polyglot. I can speak 9 languages. I know 4 languages fluently: English, Hindi, Urdu, Kashmiri. I have a certificate course in French. I can speak and understand Punjabi fairly well. I know 3 other languages at a very basic level: Turkish, Korean and Arabic. I'm a nature lover. I love gardening, exercising, teaching and fashion design.
Are you just passionate about learning various languages?
Yes, yes sir, I am.
You know Turkish also, or just
Basic level.
basic?
Yeah,
Okay. You are a postgraduate in English.
English, yes sir.
So why are you opting for civil services over academics?
So to begin with, I have a very deep concern about the society. I want to bring the change. Like it is said, be the change that you want to see in the world. Being an academician limits that authority or limits that possibility for me. So I want to get into services so that I can serve society at a better level.
Do you have any role model?
Yes sir. So my grandfather is my role model.
Grandfathers?
Grandfather is my role model, sir.
In what way?
So he's now retired. He was a civil engineer. So the stories I heard from him fascinated me a lot. The way he did his work and served society very honestly. The thing that attracts me about him is his honesty. If you allow me, I could share a story that I still remember. So may I? So he's a civil engineer and he was given the task of painting a building. But he had to take permission from higher authorities who was well known that he is a corrupt person. So if he would give him money for 3 coats of paint, it had to be given for 3 coats of paint, but he would only give money for 1 coat and tell the authority that I paid for 3 coats. So what he did was he asked permission for 1 coat at a time, and the authority gave him permission, but they warned him that we wouldn't give you permission for another one. He said, very well, I'll do that. So once he finished first coat, then he went again, and he again asked for the permission for second coat of paint. Then very annoyingly he gave him another permission also. Then third time again he went there. So the authority told him that okay, you did what you had to do, and in a very honest way. So stories like these have fascinated me, and I want to work like him. He did it in civil engineering. I want to do it at a better level.
What are your views on women empowerment?
Sir, I believe women empowerment is when women feel confident in their own skin. They don't have to prove themselves equal to men. For example, if it is a general stereotype that women are considered emotional. So it's not a bad thing to be emotional. What we need is we need to change the perspective of society. Being emotional is not bad, it's good. So when women accept themselves as they are, that's when they'll be empowered. This can happen via 2 ways. One is the internal factor, the other one is external factor. The internal factor is her own mind, the way she thinks, her perceptive. So this is molded by the family she lives in, the society she is raised up. So the society plays the external factor. So unless and until both internal and external factors are not worked upon, women would not be empowered, and that could be done via education. Education is the key factor here that can change society. So even if a woman is empowered, let's say she's allowed to work, but the streets are not safe for her. So that way her empowerment would
Are you in favor of reservation for women in public appointments and political institutions like legislature, panchayats and local bodies?
Sir, I believe in the ethos of the Constitution that speak for equality. and also equity. So what I believe here is, if certain sect of the society is not well represented, so they need a push. So that push is reservation. That's why it came into being. However, it should also not be misused for personal gains. So nowadays women are meagerly represented in the political spheres, even in economical spheres. According to the Global Economic Forums, the women participation in India is very low in economic fields, in political fields. So that is also a part of women empowerment, sir. When women is given this push, that is reservation, and when they are made equal with the rest of the society, then the reservation can again be thought upon.
Do you subscribe to this statement that all important religions, all the religions that are followed are patriarchal?
Sorry, patriarchal? So I'd like to take a moment. Sir, no, I do not agree that every religion is patriarchal. For example, let's say Hindu religion. In Vedic times, early Vedic times, the position of women was equal to that of men. Like, she could participate in samitis, sabhas, and in other forums where women needed representation. It was only during the later Vedic period that the status of women degraded. So it was because certain factors like the patriarchal society that tried to undermine the role of women or her status in the society. So religion per se is not patriarchal, it is the society. For example, different religions in different countries have their cultural effect. So for example, women in Saudi or women in UAE, they have different restrictions as compared to women here. I being an example of that a religion is not patriarchal, it is a society that guides and regulates the way a religion works.
Zan, Zindagi, Azadi. Have you heard these words?
Yes, sir.
Where?
Sir, I have heard them in the current affairs.
No. What is where?
Sir,
in which event they are taken?
Sir, I cannot exactly recall, but if you allow me, I could make a guess.
Yeah.
So it is again related to women empowerment only.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
but where? This
Zan,
is a slogan of some movement right
Zan,
now going on. Zan, Zindagi, Azadi.
So I don't know exactly, but I could make a guess. So it is related to the empowerment of women in economic sphere, for example, in MSMEs. Sorry, sir.
Have you heard about Iran? What is happening in Iran? There are women who are protesting. Why are they protesting?
Yes, sir. So it is because of the hijab row that's going on. One girl, young girl of age 22 or 23, Mehsa, she was killed in the custody of model police, which led to the huge protests across the world. It was based on the proper way of wearing hijab, that she was alleged of not having worn hijab properly, which led to her arrest and then death in the custody.
Okay, one question associated with it. Why are women of Iran justified in raising agitation or coming to the streets against, say, their own rule with regard to the ladies in total? Why are they justified?
Yes, sir. I would say the cause was justified. I'm not sure whether the way they did it was justified. However, the thing that they protested for was freedom of in Indian Constitution, Article 19(1)(a), like it speaks of freedom of speech and expression. Similarly, they were fighting for freedom of speech or expression.
Salman sir.
RBI made a policy recently, new policy.
RBI.
Yeah, Reserve Bank of India.
Yes, sir.
What is the most important takeaway from that policy?
So, well, the recent, there was a forecast of India's GDP, that
RBI made a policy.
R-
RBI does a policy. RBI
monetary policy.
Yeah, monetary policy.
Yes, sir.
New monetary policy.
Yes, sir.
Which is very important event
Yes,
for
sir.
any country. I mean, almost all the newspapers carry it as their front headline.
Yes, sir.
Always.
Yes.
Always. So, I think 4 days ago, 5
Yes.
days ago, there was a new policy.
Yes, sir.
What was the
Sir,
change? What was the change in repo rate?
it was 35 basis points. The new policy would be hawkish, that's what they termed that as. And they forecasted the GDP for 2022-23. 2023, 6.8, which is 0.1% less than what World Bank had earlier forecasted the day earlier at 6.9.
How does this work? Why is it called hawkish?
Sir, when we look into the literary meaning of the term, hawkish is when the focus or the priority of RBI is only controlling inflation, and the least prior sectors, others are like growth, development, etc. Its opposite is dovish policy that focuses more on growth, etc. than controlling inflation.
So what does it do? What does increase in repo rate by 35 basis points?
So it means that the lending rate at which the central bank lends to the banks would be increased, which in turn would reduce the supply of money, and control of inflation would help.
Tell me about, there was a recently the division bench of High Court stayed an important judgment of the single bench. What was the judgment about?
Okay. It's been few days that the exam of JKAS sub-inspector public services, it's into huge controversy. The divisional bench, there had been petitions to the divisional bench of 2 judges that the exam should be postponed due to certain reasons. However, there has been a lot of confusion because the HC.
You just take a deep breath, repopulate your answer.
Mm-hmm.
What has actually happened here? Just formulate it better and tell us.
Okay, so there's a controversy related to sub-inspector exams. So certain people are petitioning the court that it should be postponed. However,
it should be postponed. Is that what they are petitioning?
No, that's not the petition. For now, if we see recent activity, that's what I want.
What happened?
Okay. So the exam will be conducted by a private company, Aptex, that has been
Hired, yes.
that's a blacklisted company. So that is what the issue is about. Certain
you
people.
have the idea, but you are not putting it
You are not touching the main. You are not touching the main.
Yes. Sorry.
Branch 9. Don't go for branch. Go for the stem directly.
Okay.
Tell what it is.
So
it's a simple.
Okay.
It's a simple thing. Look, I'll tell you. It's a simple thing. The single bench made a decision. They quashed the point points. The division bench stayed back. If somebody asks you other things, go into that.
Okay. Yes.
Things are.
Okay.
Mera
Bazila, आपने till graduation you had science subjects.
Yes, sir.
Why did you shift to English in MA? Why?
Yes.
What prompted you?
So to begin with, I had a deep interest in English since my childhood.
Now, why did you go for graduation? You had English. One of the subjects.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, after my 10th, 11th, 12th, I've studied English. In my graduation, I was hoping that I could get to study English. So I got to read English only for a year. That means 2 semesters in my bachelor's. I realized I had more liking or more inclination towards English. I discovered this during my bachelor's that I have a deep passion for English that was rooted from my childhood.
You had MA in English. Okay.
Yeah, I had MA in English.
What fascinated you for English language? Is poets, literary taste, and what?
Sir, contrary to that, I feel I have a link to English. Like I told you, I still remember the first story that I read in English literature. I was in first standard. I read a book about Cinderella. So that book I felt like I was at home. Since then, I have loved English literature. The stories, it fascinated me. I was in sixth standard when I read Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet and his other.
Okay. Which language now? As Muslims, we know Urdu, Arabic, Kashmiri, and English. Which language is more expressive? What do you feel? Now, you have heard on all languages. Which language you see is more expressive?
Sir, all languages are equally expressive.
No, all languages are not. I may not agree with you. They are not equally expressive. But how do you feel? Which language is more expressive?
Sir, I think Urdu is more expressive.
Okay.
I have studied Urdu only till 8th standard. Yeah.
Okay. Next question is that who is the governor of JK?
Manhooj Sinha Saab.
Pura sun lo question. Who is the governor of JK?
Listen to the question. Who is the governor of JK? I never said Union Territory. I said who is the governor of JK?
Governor. Okay. So nobody is governor right now.
It's the Union Territory. We have a lieutenant governor. His name is.
Okay. There are two terms, bullish and bearish, which Sir had economy was discussing.
Sir.
What is that?
So it is the rise and a fall in the share market. Sir, I'm not.
No, what is bullish? Bullish. What can we understand by being bullish?
Sir, I have read.
Being bullish, stock market is being bullish.
So if you give me a minute, I would like to recall.
There are two terms.
Yes, sir.
In stock market.
Yes,
bullish.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Tendency or bear.
Yes, sir.
Tendency.
Both
What are
and
they?
Sir, it is that the so if you give me a minute, I could formulate my answer.
Yes. Take your time.
Sir,
Okay, you can.
sir, it is a rise in the prices of the shares and fall, but I do not exactly remember which one is bull and which one is bear.
Bull always goes up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's approach it to that answer. Okay. So you feel for upliftment of this woman, society is the impediment. You agree to it?
Yes, sir, I do agree.
Okay.
Sir, can I add?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, this is a personal experience that self-deprivation is the root cause of why women think that they do not deserve. This is also a reason why women do not want to, there's this feeling, there's this inertia within women that they do not want to, even if you convince them. So that self-deprivation is, I think, one of the major factors of...
Who is responsible for that?
Women itself. It is because of the mindset.
How can we avoid it? So
yes,
self-deprivation
education.
is okay, it's good, but how can we remove?
So education, I think. Education is the key here that could change personality, that could change how women think. If they are given that, I think women will speak for themselves.
Can you name a Prime Minister of India who was polyglot?
Who was polyglot?
Knew many languages.
I'm afraid, sir, I do not know.
Yeah, naturally, आप polyglot को नरसिम्हा राव जी के.
No, sir, I have heard about his reign and I was not aware of
अभी
it.
सर के एक सवाल के जवाब में आपने बता दिया that in which language you can
fully express.
Is it that mother tongue is usually the language in which you can express yourself?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा ये बताइए which article of the constitution is known as heart and soul of the constitution?
So, Article 32.
Why?
So, because it gives the right to people to approach the Supreme Court for rest of the rights that are mentioned in the Constitution.
Right. What is that right? Right to?
Sir, I cannot recall the
Constitutional
words.
remedies.
Yes, sir. Right to constitutional remedies.
What is this J&K Reorganization Act?
So it came into being on, sir, it was introduced in the Rajya Sabha by Shri Amit Shah ji on 5th August 2019. So it basically, it was about the division of J&K state, erstwhile state, into two union territories of Ladakh and J&K. Ladakh without a legislative assembly and Jammu and Kashmir with a legislative assembly.
Do we have any representative bodies, elected representative bodies in Ladakh Union Territory?
Sir, I'm not sure, but I could make a guess. District Development Councils.
वहाँ पे है लद्दाख में ऑटोनॉमस हिल
Autonomous
डेवलपमेंट
Hill.
काउंसिल
लेह भी
लेह में भी और
Yes.
कारगिल में भी जिसमें इलेक्टेड
So I could not recall that. I had studied
ये
this.
बेसिक चीज़ें
Yes, sir.
अगेन शायद एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ रिपीटिशन कैन यू नेम 2 districts of पीर पंचाल रीजन?
Yes, sir. Sir, Poonch and Rajouri.
Everybody fought it. Everybody fought
चिनाब
it.
वैली
Sorry?
चिनाब वैली के डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के नाम बताओ.
Doda, Kishtwar and Ramban.
नॉर्थ कश्मीर के डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के नाम बताओ.
Kupwara,
कमराज,
Kupwara, Baramulla, Bandipora.
मराज के 4 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के नाम बता दो.
Sir, what's Maraz?
मराज इज साउथ कश्मीर
Okay, sir. Sir, Anantnag, Shopian, Kulgam,
एंड
Pulwama.
यस.
This is just something what. Do you know what a tautology is?
Sorry, sir.
What a tautological statement is? Have you heard?
Sir, I've heard-
Tautology, They
I-
teach about the statements now sometimes that this theory is tautological. What do you understand by tautology?
Sir, I haven't read about it.
Do you know you made a statement that the patriarchy arose because society was patriarchal?
Okay, yes, sir.
How can be the reason be cause of itself? How can something which is there, patriarchy, how can it arise from the itself?
Sir,
That's called a tautological
Okay.
statement. Anyways, I think you have improved quite a lot.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. You come
Yes, sir.
across as much better.
नहीं बस थोड़ा सा ये लोकल पे और एक आई कांटेक्ट थोड़ा आप मेंटेन कर लीजिए. जो
Yes, sir.
क्वेश्चन पूछेगा उसी को
उसी को एड्रेस भी करना है.
okay, sir.
यू आर एड्रेसिंग ना मैं पूछूं तो इनकी तरफ देखा तो ठीक बट
आप
आई कांटेक्ट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अदरवाइज
Yes,
यू हैव इम्प्रूव्ड अ लॉट पिछले इंटरव्यू
एक्सप्रेशन अच्छा है.
एक्सप्रेशन भी ठीक है और आपने आपका बेसिक जो कहाँ से पढ़ा है आपने सेंट जोसेफ से.
St. Joseph's.
तो फिर चंडीगढ़ क्यों पढ़ने गई? व्हाई नॉट दिल्ली?
Sir, I actually took admission in Government Degree College, Sopore, but then in year 2016, due to the political unrest, and also because my father was transferred to Chandigarh, so I had to go along with
क्या
him.
कर रहे हैं आपके पास?
SB, he's in SBI, State Bank of India.
स्टेट बैंक.
स्टेट बैंक एकेडमिक
नहीं बट दैट इज द
Manager.
रीजन आपने चंडीगढ़ में
चंडीगढ़
क्यों
में.
पढ़ा आपने ये पूछा जा सकता है आपसे.
दैट वाज मेरी रीजन कि पेरेंट्स चंडीगढ़ में हैं.
आपका
But-
overall you're doing far better,
Yes, yes.
especially considering last time जो भी हमने आपको बोला था क्या आपका करंट अफेयर्स बहुत अच्छा हुआ है, लोकल नॉलेज भी
Yes, yes, काफी improve हुआ है,
काफी ठीक ठाक हुआ है. जस्ट वन थिंग, नेशनल न्यूज़पेपर्स आपका अच्छा था, आरबीआई का आपने अच्छा बोला, ठीक है, that much is expected of everybody. There are many other things also, but you told something which is basic, have to be known about these things. Zan Zandagi Azadi is very important because you are a woman, and if there's a woman's protest, you would be asked those questions.
एंड द वे यू ड्रेस नेचुरली ईरान का क्वेश्चन वो तो पूछा ही जाएगा.
And
Yes, sir.
दूसरा था, कभी आपको जब ओपिनियन बताया जाता है ना, you have to own up to your opinion.
Yes, sir.
Your opinions cannot be wishy-washy. You own up to your opinions, you state them. देखिए, obviously your opinions should not be brash, जिनकी वजह से आपको नुकसान उठाना पड़े.
Yes.
और आपके opinions moderate हैं, I want you own up to the opinions. That's why when somebody asks you,
But
what is
you are
in
you.
your-
It has to be expressed.
what is in your view? You're not asked the actual fact. What do you think?
Okay, sir.
Obviously, somebody is asking you what you have to assume that I'm important and I have to answer it according to my own ability. You might be wrong, you might be right. By the way, your opinions, yes, I think overall ठीक है. आपका इंटरव्यू कब है?
4th Jan.
4 Jan.
काफी टाइम है.
काफी टाइम है. Current affairs, हाँ, go through the current affairs. I'm sure that you would have तो न्यूज़पेपर हर कोई होगा, कोई पुराना वो विजन है इसका पूरा समय
Yes, sir.
होगा, पिछले 2-3 महीने का देख सकते हैं ऐसे
और थोड़ा इंग्लिश लिटरेचर जो कि आपका ऑप्शनल भी है,
जी।
इम्पोर्टेंट जो है टॉपिक्स इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के वो भी, और उनको रिलेट करके थोड़ा आपने यहाँ JNK या इंडिया के साथ भी कोई इम्पोर्टेंट है।
Sir, I am reading Kashmiri literature these days, history of Kashmiri literature.
आगा शाही दर्द के बारे में
हाँ, उसके
Yes,
बारे में
I
पूछा
have-
जाएगा,
yeah.
कंट्री विदाउट पोस्ट ऑफिस या कुछ
तो आगा
ऐसा।
शाही दर्द के
हाँ,
बारे में
बताओ।
Yeah, he's one of the modern writers. I had read one of his. I'd actually somebody wrote about him. It was in a 9th standard English book. So it was about his later life when he developed cancer, but the way he fought it and the way he died. So that's all I know about Aga
ये
Shahid
तो
Ali.
हर किसी को एक जो इंग्लिश लिटरेचर पढ़ा हुआ
हाँ।
उसको उसके लिटरेचर के बारे में
Sir,
पता
I have.
वो तो लाइफ हिस्ट्री हो गई।
इसका
वही
तो
बोल रहे हैं।
की बात आने वाला है शायद, तो his birthday is coming.
Okay, okay.
बरसी आ रही है 2-4 दिनों के बाद तो आ रही है। देखो, he is one of the most renowned English poets from Kashmir.
Yes, sir.
So you must know about him.
Yes,
you
sir.
said that you had a passion for English literature. आपका subject है English, आपका optional है English literature. So the most important thing about him is that he's a Kashmiri English poet.
Yes, sir.
He brought ghazal, which is his innovation. He brought ghazal to the English. Those things are very important.
Yes, sir.
And some of his poems, if you know.
Yes, sir. Sir, I had read, but I cannot recall
ये
exactly.
इस पे कर लो कंसल्ट।
Yes. आपको नहीं, nobody is going to ask to recite a poem, but एक दो points का idea तो होगा, a country without post office,
Yeah, sir.
write to me,
उनकी एक किताब भी है, कंट्री विदाउट बॉर्डर।
हाँ। So point is that those things have been overall a good performance.
All right.
कीट्स ऑफ कश्मीर किस शायर को है?
Sir, Rasool Mir.
रसूल।
Sir, I reached till I did ancient and medieval. Now I'll have to start with modern.
अभी है टाइम
हाँ।
आपके पास, मतलब ये थोड़ा जो
एक पॉइंट में बताओ।
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Give answers short.
Okay.
Don't give long answers.
Okay, sir.
Or don't express your opinion.
Okay.
You be away from that.
Okay, sir.
Whatever respect, give the details and short answers. No
Okay.
long answers.
All right, sir.
Otherwise, very good.
Okay.
ऑल बेस्ट।
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, I would want about my tone, the things that you asked me to improve upon last time. So,
नहीं ठीक है।
So now, just देखिए,
you asked me a question, what is your weakness last time? I pondered upon it, and then I found that my tone sometimes misleads people into thinking that I might be arrogant. So that is one of my weaknesses, sir.
To an extent your presentation was very good about the thing, but ये facts पे थोड़ा सा और ध्यान देना।
Do I need to control my tone more, or is it fine?
It's okay.
नहीं आपका तो accent
Be natural, the way you are. लेकिन वो नहीं
देखिए पिछली बार क्या था प्रॉब्लम मैं बताता हूँ।
Yes, sir.
Pointed out that
Yes, sir.
You came a little bit arrogant. That was more about the content of your
Okay.
point is that tone आपका अच्छा है. Problem is that if you're going on and on about yourself.
Okay.
ठीक है.
Okay.
So
All right.
it will create just देखिए you want it's not an exam in which you're going to score kind of outscore other people. You can underscore other people by being very bad.
Okay.
ठीक है. तो अपने बारे में कहो जब जो पूछा जाए आपको पूछा गया अब बताओ अपने बारे में. You're a polyglot. That's a very good important thing. You should put that thing. You can. I have working knowledge of 4 languages. I can speak fluently.
और बेसिक कॉमन बातें जो होती है, मे बी समबडी आस्क के मुझे टर्की में इसको क्या बता देते हैं, कोई चीज जो कॉमन पार्लेंस में
those are things that you have to tell. The point is that देखिए अब आपको exactly पूछा जा सकता है कि आप कहाँ पे ये जा रहे हो, so you have to practice with yourself and best way to practice with yourself आप घर में बैठते हो आप अपने दिमाग में सोचो कि क्या कर रहे हो आप.
So that's what I
Question
did.
ये पुट योरसेल्फ की जैसे आप ऑलरेडी आ गई हो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस में, आप एज ए वुमन क्या करना चाहती है,
All right.
इन चीजों पे सोच, मे बी दिस क्वेश्चन कम्स अप देयर.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
ऑल द बेस्ट.